Okay, so this is another video that I created as part of a bunch of videos called Cows in Space. And this one's interesting because it uses the foreground and the background in a way that you might not think about using those things. And we combine those two to create this word right here called depth. And I don't know if you guys can see a word that you're familiar with in there, but I always remembered it by thinking of the word deep. And instead of going down deep into the ocean or deep into the ground, I thought about it as going into space, deep into space. So we're going to draw a cow, and you can see that there are some lines that you might need to erase. I did this one a little bit earlier, so you may want to use a pencil. I'm going to use a pen. If you use a pencil, then you can draw it really light and you can really easily clean up those lines when you're done with them. So we're going to start with the biggest shape, which would be the nose on the cow. And this can get a little bit tricky because you do want to leave enough room to get the ears on here, but you want to make sure that you're using the whole paper. So what I recommend, even if you're using a pencil, is to kind of practice your lines a little bit. That would be too far over. Practice your lines a little bit on your paper before you actually put your pencil down. So I'm going to draw the top part of the nose, which is just two little curved lines like this. And we've talked about this in some of my classes. When you're drawing human lips, there's a way for you to follow the lines, and you're going to do that when you get down here to the bottom of this nose. We're going to bring these lines out just slightly out to the side at an angle, and then you're going to draw a line that curves up towards the inside of each one of these little bumps right here. So you end up with a shape that looks like that, and that is the cow's snout. And you're going to do a backward C on this side and kind of a crooked C on that side, and you have his nostrils. And then up underneath, from about this bump right here to that bump right there, we're going to draw the lower jaw. Now, I don't know if already you've noticed, this one's a little more challenging than some of the other cow videos I have because we're using organic shapes. We're not using geometric shapes, which makes it a little bit trickier to draw until you get used to it. So don't give up. Pause the video if you need to, erase some of those lines if you need to, or try it once, twice, 3 times the whole way through, and you'll see that it gets better and better every time. So coming over from the nose just a little bit, over to this side of the nose, we're going to draw a little circular shape, and I'm practicing before I actually put my pen down. And that is going to be the cow's head. And we're going to make some big old ears. And they kind of curve out almost like a teardrop at the end. And you can see me practicing a couple of times. We want the end of the ears to come back in about right there. We'll bring that one in. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side, except it's going to be up a little bit more on this side of the head because of the way the cow's head is tilted, almost like the cow is shaking maybe a fly or something off its head. And then we're going to work on the eyes. This eye is going to come over here, and it's going to be a teardrop shape. And if you're not familiar with cows, they have very cute eyelashes, boy and girl cows. And then we're going to do it on this side. We're going to make it look like the cow is looking at us. We're going to draw that iris in there, and I'm filling mine in as I go. You can wait and do that with a marker if you want to, but I'm leaving a little white spot in there for a reflection. I'm going to do the same thing On this side, I'm going to leave a little white spot in there for reflection, so it kind of looks like it's looking in this direction. And we're going to put a spot around that eye and a spot around that eye. And we're going to curve a line on the inside shape of the ear, because, you know, this is going to show that there's a little bit of depth there and that the ear curls just a little bit. And now this is where we're using our space to create depth. The foreground is that very tip of the nose. That's what's going to be closest to us. And then the background is basically going to be the back end of the cow to kind of make it look like it's popping out off the paper a little bit. So right here on this part of the chin, I'm going to draw a curved line down. And over here, I'm going to draw another curved line down. And it looks like the cow's body is tiny. But really, it looks that way because the snout is so close. And this line gets a little bit tricky. On this side of the arm, we're going to bring the body back and around. So it's going to curve up toward the eye. And then the back end of the cow comes around that line and back down. Don't get too frustrated with yourself. It took me a couple of times to figure out how to draw this myself. And now I'm going to make it look like the back leg is on the other side there. And you can go ahead and put some hooves on your cow. And those are kind of geometric shapes, so those are pretty easy to draw. And then, of course, the cow has the organic shapes on it, so you can put the spots on there. You can even put a little tail with the hair on the end. I like to put a little bit of patch of hair up here on the top part of the cow's head, so it looks kind of like a baby cow. And, you know, the more you keep playing around with it, and if you decide to color it, a lot of times you'll see that you don't really like your drawing until it's got color on it. I'm just going to color in all of these little organic shapes that I drew. Color in the feet. And if you want to, you can draw some food coming out of your cow's mouth. They love to eat grass. I'm going to put some grass with a little tip on the end of it right here. You can see I just kind of scribbled it on there. You can make them eating a flower if you want to. Again, cows in space. If you draw anything in the background, make sure that you make it really tiny, because we want that nose to be what's closest to you. Okay?